Yeah, the key to comedy is repeating all jokes 9 times. Just tell that to every Night Attack character. I'm the same bit as I was 5 years ago. Oh, originality be damned, boy. All right. This is going to be super fun. I'm going to try to not kill myself with these chords. I'm going to try. Actually, no, you want to know what? I'm just going to get this out of here. Somebody can sit in the Doritos sponsored JuRY Splash Zone seat. All right. Oh, someone else is here. Thank God. Yo, go ahead. Yeah, there's somebody else. We're waiting. Man, we got a hell of a crowd. Let me just actually tip this out a little bit. Everybody say hi. We got more people coming in. Awesome. All right. I don't know what I keep walking. It's like, here's the weirdest thing is I know once I start, like there's going to be no nervous energy. This is all just like setting things up nervous energy. Famous last words when this sucks. Like, okay. I think is everybody good? Everybody good? Right? Are you all ready to go? Then let's go ahead and just get this started. The Justin Robert Young podcast is brought to you, as always, by, and this is the same thing that we did in Louisville, where, normally, of course, stickers are DIAF, you have the contender, but really, let me just go ahead and just give a gigantic, just word of thanks to everybody that supports us this is the royal us, meaning me, for patreon.com/JuRY. I thought when we had this idea and people started emailing in about it that this could be something special. I am now more convinced than ever that it absolutely is. That what we've done here together is create not only a super awesome a way that I can get out and meet so many more people and kind of even grow the show and make it a bigger, different experience. But also, I think we've just kind of paved the way and blazed the trail for people that are like us, that we want niche media exactly how we want it. And that's just never going to be something that will be mass marketed. You're never going to get that in a gigantic theater. You're never going to get that in some place that requires a big overhead. There are budget constraints, right? What we have is passion, energy, and time. And thanks to Patreon, I now have just whatever meager budget and way to generate more excitement, which brings in more money, which actually makes this work than ever before. So please, everybody, let's just get a gigantic round of applause for everybody who supports patreon.com/JuRY. I mean, also buy my stickers and my card game. Don't get it twisted. I need to sell a lot of card games. I need to sell a lot of them. But anyway, let's go ahead and start the show. All right, I've never done this live, but I kind of feel like we should be clapping along, right? There we go.
On the day that we met, on the
Let's go, come on. I asked her for a photograph.
She said no to me, said, I know it's ugly. And I said, girl, ugly ain't the half. Look at you. Well, you got blue teeth and you only got 2 teeth, but I kinda like to see you smile. And it appears that over the years you've turned into a big old steaming pile.
And she said, yeah, I know I ain't no
supermodel. I said,
You ain't a hand model, baby.
but that's fine. 'Cause you're pretty ugly by most people's standards. But you're alright by mind.
Oh, hell yeah. What's up? Man, that was so great. It got awkward at the end. It was like, you know, passions, pistons are pumping. And it's like, oh my God, like, did we all just have a moment, like, together? Is this real? Can we cuddle afterward? Welcome, everybody. If you are listening to this or watching this on YouTube, we are live and direct from the lovely Illinois suburb of Glendale Heights. We are right out, rounding out the JuRY in Your House tour. Louisville on Friday. Cincinnati, big meetup. Insane crowd. Benjamin Franklin, by the way, over here in the corner. Looks great for his age. Surprisingly spry. He's yes, in more ways than one. He moisturizes. I don't even know why that joke makes sense. Like, I think it's just the Ben Franklin compliment. Maybe both. So we were out at Cincinnati last night. He's actually been there for all of them, and safe to say, a surprising turnout each time, right? Like more people. Yeah, ton of people. So and right now this is easily the biggest, certainly the biggest crowd that's ever seen JuRY live. And so I'm super thrilled that you guys are here, because there is. I mean, I joke about it like, oh man, did we just like share a moment? I think that's true. It's fun to see it, especially because I don't know if y'all have peeked out of your hobbit holes today, but dark skies a brewing. Bad news. Like the stuff that happened out in Orlando late last night at the Pulse nightclub, I believe, is just, you know, it's horrifying, and it's terrible, and it often, you know, just kind of brings out, not only is the event terrible, but it also kind of shows the dark side of an element that we have right here. Like right now, we have all gathered. Some people have driven from far away. I've driven. I've done this now 3 different cities. We are a tribe, right? Hooray! Yeah! And like, that's super cool as long as I'm up here telling jokes and not like saying, and now we should rob a bank. No, sit down. No, I'm not saying we should rob a bank. I'm not, no. No, it's just, Kuhan's here, by the way. Everybody, give her a big round of applause, Kuhan. So the dark side is tribalism. We all connect, especially on the internet, to ideas, theories, groups that make us feel better. What I realized last night when we were talking at the meetup in Cincinnati is that the beautiful thing about the internet friends versus real life friends, our real life friends are opt out programmatically. They are bloatware. Like whenever you get a new cell phone, you get a new job, right? You walk in, you're like, oh my God, all this is preloaded? Sometimes it's great. You're like, oh, it turns out I actually use the stock app. Sometimes, many times, most times, it's not. Beautiful thing about internet friends, opt in. You get to pick and choose, right? You're in a chat room. We got actually our whole big chat realm is now right there on the screen behind me, so people can not only listen to a joke I make, but immediately look to see if it's funny by looking past me. You know, you can be in a chat room and you can have fun and you can talk to somebody and you can follow their social media and you're like, hey man, we're friends. And then they say like, and that's another thing about Alexander the Great and the Aryan nation. And you're like, we're not friends anymore. And it is as simple as an unfollow. Like, that is it. You can always plug in where you want and remove yourself very easily, and that's fantastic. I've always found that to be a tremendous a tremendous benefit to what I find to be the most put upon elements of our society. It's hard when all your friends are opt out, because you tend to not get, society moderates for the middle. So if you are on wherever you are opposite of that, then it's hard to plug in. But like anything, systems grow and they evolve and they change. And this is where it's very frustrating during what I think to be terrible, horrible tragedies. I know, a shocking hot take. We see pain manifesting itself in ways that kind of tends to only draw more anger. And, I think we've all done this. And this particular tragedy, 50 people dead, largest mass shooting on American soil with an AR-15 by a Muslim dude at a gay club. There are so many handles on this bag of shit that anybody can grab it and swing it at the other side, right? You can find any reason why. Well, this is why my previously held political beliefs are correct and your previously held political beliefs are wrong. You're like, well, yeah, but it's also everything. This is it's such a bizarre situation. And thank God we're not in the middle of a highly charged political climate or anything. Whew. Bullet dodged. Oh, Jesus. I'm going to blame that one on Kuhan. Don't take a bow. No, no, that doesn't. No, it makes it worse. Then we're just moving on. Anyway, about my iPhone 6 Plus. It's really, really hard. And so here's what I'm going to say. This is my reaction to this reaction. I think this is the way to go. This is my own personal thing that I feel like is uncontroversial, and we can all take this pledge right here and right now. 24-hour ban on social media opinions after a tragedy. We can all take 24 hours out. We can all just say just imagine how much better today would be if again, you can spit all the hot takes you want 25 hours afterward. I'm just saying 24 just for 24. Imagine. It's easy if you try. All of your social media feed just being, I'm sad. I'm very sad, and I'm very conflicted, and I'm very angry, and I'm very compassionate. Just express, don't just decode it, because that's what all of this is anyway. For everybody who's posting, their macros of well, when this person does blap, then that person does blap. Very easy. Let's take a gigantic, complex idea and put it down to one thing that will fit in Instagram's aspect ratio. Really, they're just saying, I'm so sad, and I want to make the world make sense, and I can't. So I'm just going to put this on your Twitter feed. And that's, again, it's healthy to want to do it. I'm just saying, and this is also kind of my own reporter bias coming in, that, in reporting on tragedies, you would be blown away at how much is wrong before you get 24 hours out. Misinformation spreads very quickly and only spreads quicker. So it doesn't do us as a populace when we are at points of galvanization much good to dig in our heels on something that might be wrong. It's just better. It's here. Look. All right, here. I'm going to sell this in another way. Kuhan. I don't know why you're so close right now. I feel like we're just talking. Yeah, exactly. I feel like I should be like kneeling and giving you advice. Well, let me tell you something. I'm going to sell this the other way. This will make your screaming hot takes even better. you will be less prone to then have the person who disagrees with your opinion, let's just say it's your uncle, then come back on you and say, oh, yeah, but look at what happened today. You were wrong about that when you went off and started yelling and screaming. And also this, that, and the other. And I got this from my favorite show. Here you go. Here's a link. Like, there's nothing good that can come of it. It is just something that I hope just spreads. It doesn't have to be an official thing, right? We don't need to go to change.org. All I'm saying is just think of it as a personal mantra. Just 24 hours. 24 hours. It's better for everybody. I do just want to say, if you are listening to this, I know that there's also a hockey game I care about is going on. I'm gonna pretend to not care about it. Real quick, I do know that, I am from Florida. This is another weird thing about tragedies. And like, I know it's human. I know that it is just us, our like pattern recognition brains that just like want to make connection. And you want to, when you see something that is a big, jagged, complex problem that obviously has all these consequences, all you want to do is just find your place in it, because if you know where you are within this gigantic lattice of tragedy, then maybe it'll look clearer. And so what that manifests itself is like, man, the craziest thing about 9/11 was that I was eating at a Sbarro's while it was happening. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe. Oh man, that's like, I was just in New York 6 years ago. It was, and it's something that everybody does. Everybody wants to find, like, my brother's cousin's sister was like literally just in this place where this thing happened. Everybody wants to find themselves within it, but I do know that so I'm going to do that right now. There's my preamble for excusing my terrible behavior. But, I grew up in Orlando. My brother and his wife and newborn baby nephew of mine I don't know whether or not I officially covered this on the show, but they wound up going with the name Jackson Miles. He's Miles with a Y, like a wizard. Which now I've totally flipped, and now I think it's great. I did hate it. Now I love it. So there we go. That's my hot take. Miles with a Y. Leave out the I, for I love this. They all live and work in Orlando. Orlando's a very weird city. Orlando is this. Like Florida itself is all these very different fiefdoms. There's very like backwoodsy, there's very super hippie, there's very super Hispanic. There's huge, gigantic pockets of the LGBT community, specifically in Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Orlando is kind of always this weird Moss Isley hodgepodge of all of it. It's not quite the like founded by 6 parrot heads, on a Coke binge like Tampa is. It's certainly not like, just so bizarre like a weird old man's penis should be their flag, Key West. It's certainly not the like yeah, exactly. The General Lee freeze framed in the middle as it jumps a hill south. It was basically a very, very southern city, traditionally southern city that has, because it became this international hub. It was like if all of a sudden you just had like Jacksonville and Orlando at a certain point weren't all that different. They were just kind of like, hey, here's some southern cities in Florida. And then they are more like, Georgia and Alabama to the north than they were necessarily the international, gateway to Latin America like South Florida was. And then all of a sudden, like aliens came by and said like, no, now you're an international center of happiness. But also, like, it's only going to be technically because we're just going to take these British people from the airport right to Disney World, and then we're going to take them right back. So, like, yeah, they'll be there, but no one's going to show up, like, in downtown Orlando. So you have this kind of weird known for a thing, but yet, because it was this gateway, Orlando's culture, such as it was, has kind of steadily grown to the point where now it is unrecognizable from a city like Jacksonville, but is not exactly, known for something like, Key West or Tampa or Miami or Fort Lauderdale. What I do know, or I can say just in my guess of, an element of that tragedy is that Orlando is a lot like cities like Austin, cities where you have this one little pocket of a place where certain groups gather, and it's often because you leave a hometown that, specifically with the LGBT thing, people might not be in love with. Like, they just that is not, they're not necessarily friendly about it, and so you come to the big city, and there you go. You have a larger community that's there, and that's part of what really, as I thought through this on the ride up here, kind of really broke my heart all the more about it. There is one more point that I wanted to go over, and I can now look at it right here. This is so much easier, by the way, when I just have like three different monitors, and I'm not oh, here's my last thing on this. And this is not necessarily, this came up because of this, but this is more than that. This is a larger internet, because again, folks watching live in the chat room here, I want to let you all know that you are all nerds. and that's coming from a man who's wearing embarrassing plaid shorts on the internet. By the way, nobody looks good in embarrassing plaid shorts on the internet. And I was like, should I change the pants? No. Fuck it. No, I shouldn't. I would look better in the pants. I'm just going to go with these, like, oh, well, this is perfect. I can keep my cat cables in it. Like, we're nerds. We're nerds. And that's the great. That is amazing, right? It's fun. But it means that your family looks to you for how to understand the internet. We need to be cognizant of the idea that we are not only acting within our own personal value systems, we are setting an example for our parents and dumber family. Our behavior will influence them, whether or not they want to admit it. And here's something that I would like to just bring to our little gathering of bleeding edge nerddom. Just to put this out in the ether. When can we stop looking at Twitter comments as the bellwether of our society? Like, I don't understand where this came from or why it persists. Like today, I saw a bunch of tweets. Looking at the @replies about this makes me really sad. Now, I don't criticize somebody for saying that they're sad, because, listen, if you look at absolute garbage, you're going to be like, man, that's some absolute garbage. It did its job. It is garbage, right? But it's not the way that we're like, oh, finally. We finally, let's take the pulse of our culture. And instead of putting it on our wrist, we will stick it up our butts. Although, what, would that work? That might actually work. Scratch that metaphor. I don't get it. I really, really don't. Because to my mind, Twitter comments, internet comments, comments in general, Like, yes, they're depressing. Yes, they're gross. Yes, they're weird. Yes, they can say things that are horrifying. But it's not because they are our true selves. It's because they are our most anonymous selves. Even when we're putting our name on it, there's an element of internet veil that people just say terrible things. Now, luckily, I am a very, very, very happy grade of internet famous, which is like just basically like just saying like, I have a large email listserv, right? Like it's not any kind of real fame, right? It's just like this fun little thing. And like, so I don't get a ton of hateful stuff back. Periodically I do. Periodically somebody says something like really, really mean. And it always makes me, something I noticed is that whenever you come back at somebody and just say, hey man, I just think that this is this. There's always this like surprise from them. Oh, I didn't know you were going to read that. Because it's for them. It's what they are just saying something, and very often it's unfair, it's mean, it's terrible. But it's not because if they don't expect the principal people for which they are talking about to ever read it, how much can we really assume that it is something that they even believe is their true selves? It's a gut reaction. It's like this expulsion, like a squid with ink. Like they just like, and I don't think that that's who we are. I think that if you really want to look at what the internet is, then don't look at the jack-offs who are, writing terrible things about, hours after the tragedy. Number one, they didn't take my pledge, and so they are dead to me. Number two, it's we have this weird masochistic tendency to look at the bad and not everybody that's organized, over all these amazing social media platforms to get people out to blood banks to donate, to get people to raise money for all the causes that right now where people are afflicted, they can be helped by our generosity. If we don't look at the good and we only convince ourselves that we are on this bizarre pass-fail system based on a bunch of Twitter eggs who couldn't take the time to take a selfie of them on the toilet. Because they were so quick that they wanted to respond, or they've been banned a couple times. So it's like, at this point, it's just like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I got to get back on so I can tell the sports radio host I hate that he has AIDS or something. If we're only looking at that, and we're not looking at every brilliant element that really, really comes from it, then, I think we're just putting blinders on. We're just, putting on our own little Google cardboard that shows like a dystopia while paradise is out beyond us, because that's what I do believe that every day, especially now, we are going forward. We are creating bigger, better, and that makes me very, very happy. Because I don't know if you guys have picked up on this. 2016, I end this show every single week by saying, please don't die. 2016 has directly disobeyed me. So many people have died. Amazing, brilliant people. Alan Rickman, dead. Prince, dead. Bowie, dead. Lemmy, dead. Muhammad Ali, dead. And now, 2016 is just showing off. Ali's having a funeral and Gordie Howe dies. Just to gotcha. Ha ha. 2016, killing heroes. I don't know why he has this move. He's got this shoulder. I don't know. I imagine he's on a moped or something. It's a villainous vehicle, the moped. Not even one of those Italian ones either. It's some embarrassing, almost kind of too built out mopeds. All right, not a visual. That coffee jinxed me. I picked it up and I was terrible. And so now I'm going to put it back down. But there's another element to that. There's another element to the fact that there are so many of our heroes that are going. And I think that there is a tremendous silver lining to it. Because with each person that dies, we now, again, because we built this amazing information system and more voices than ever can write about every little bit. And now not only can we revisit and get rapidly transmitted every story, every anecdote. YouTube gives us the ability to watch these people as they actually were, as opposed to how they are being eulogized, because the fog of history distorts everything. We can see them, and oftentimes we can see them for their real selves and not just titans. You know, we can look back and have conversations about maybe some questionable actions, and that is so important. I believe it is so important for us to realize. It is so important for us to understand. And while it is certainly sad and depressing, especially for those that went far too soon, like Prince, what it does give us is a little bit of a demystification and a roadmap. Because what is clear to me now, more than anything else, Brian Dumoulin, 1-0. Penguins are up. Not paying attention. Wow, bad moment for that. God, I was like summiting like gas bag mountain, like with my big thundery point, and then bleep. I'm just gonna turn it over. Effects here. I'm just gonna give it. Somebody put this in there. Just sit on it somewhere. Don't fart. What we have now is a mandate. We watch all these people and we see what they've done, but more specifically, we see how they created it. We see where they came from. We see what they did. We see how they faced challenges. We see where they screwed up. Whether or not they want to admit it or did admit it, we see every element of them. Clearer now than we ever did before. It's not just 2 pieces in Rolling Stone that we get to read. It's so much more. It's so, so, so important that we realize that 2016 is not the year that all of our heroes died. It's the year that we realized we needed to become them. And that is something that you can't do with gods. You can't just be a god one day. But you know, you can be as brave and stick up for yourself as much as Ali did in your own way. You can be as brilliant and creative as Prince and Bowie, and you can be as unrepentant as Lemmy, and you can be as have the longevity of Gordie Howe, and you can do everything that we have seen, because again, these are great, great, great people that have gone, and they will never be replaced. But we can only hope that somewhere down the line we are all our best selves, and we can be for a future generation what those people were to us. I'm assuming it's still 1-0 in the game. So I'm very glad that I'm very, very glad that okay, we're done with that. Okay. This is normally where we get into emails. I have a couple emails, but something that I didn't warn anybody about in the Louisville show is we can also do Q&A, and if you want to ask me anything. So I'm going to read the emails. I'm going to do that bit, but then at the end, I'll throw it out to you guys, and we can go back and forth and have that be an open Q&A. Is that cool? You guys, is that good? All right, good. Okay, so you can please email me, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Again, that is justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Please go ahead and put JuRY in the subject line. Mitchell in Tokyo says, I'm a Seattleite currently living in Tokyo. Shout out to all my homies in the Evergreen State. Shout out to any other listeners in the land of the rising sun. As I was listening to your episode the other week, you had a moment where you told the audience to stare down whoever was next to you, whether they were in public, in their house, or on the train. Well, I was in the train during rush hour at the time. Tokyo rush hour can be pretty packed, with people pushing up next to each other without any space to move around the train. Just as you ordered, I took a picture of the person that was on the other end of my stare. God damn it. After glancing at me once, she promptly returned to her phone and didn't even acknowledge me for even a second for the rest of the train ride. I think she might have been uncomfortable, you think? But because the train was so full, she didn't have a choice but to stay where she was, standing in front of this foreigner staring at her. Okay. I understand that this is like one of those like Kilgrave and Jessica Jones like kind of things where it's like literally I did say take a picture of somebody next to you. Let's keep it good-natured. I just don't want, like all of a sudden my Google alert to be like, Gaijin murdered on subway after spat about podcast challenge. Besides, and I don't want to stereotype here, but from what I know about some of the weird stuff that goes on public transportation in Japan, we don't need to be adding to that mountain. So if you are in a public situation, maybe glance. You don't need to take a picture. Maybe just take a picture. If you're near people that it's going to be weird, take a picture of the ceiling. You have my full, or how about a lovely vista outside? Look at that, the speeding landscape of Tokyo. Thank you very, very much, Mitchell, for writing in. Please never do that again. He sent the pictures, by the way. I'm like, I can't show them because I'm here live, but yeah, he did. So just know that he ain't bluffing. Paul writes, I just heard on the latest podcast, I think also both of these guys are in Japan. I believe they might even both be in Tokyo. So now, Paul and Mitchell, you're now best friends. Please hang out. I just heard the latest JuRY podcast and wanted to chime in on the college industrial complex. I have vivid memories of getting sucked into it pretty early. To recap for anybody who didn't hear the episode last week, I told the story about the most stressful 6 months of my life, which was going into college, wherein I had to, you do your SATs, and meanwhile you're coming in and every day, and someone's like, oh, I'm going to Harvard. And you're like, well, I hope I wrote an essay to be read by strangers well, because I'm 17, and I'm really glad that I have this kind of existential dread weighing on me. It wasn't hard enough being me. It's been really, so smooth sailing, yeah, with this like ever-shifting biology and suffocating social strata. I'm really glad that the weight of the rest of my life was added. That's really great. Awesome. So he writes, a handful of people in my class got roped into some Duke University program that had 8th graders take the ACTs, the Midwestern equivalent of the SATs. Is that true? Wait, I say, oh, wow, a wave of SAT or ACT takers here. Were in the Duke one?
I got the letter from it. I didn't get roped in, but I got the letters from it.
You got the letter. Well, here we go. Then you will understand this. You can probably guess how fun it was at that age, sitting amongst a dozen of stressed out high school kids at 8 a.m. on a Saturday, dealing with mathematical concepts I wouldn't see in school for another 3 years. I also had an extensive test prep class foisted upon me during my high school. Foisted. Excellent SAT word. With parents and teachers all the while impressing upon me that doing well on the ACT was a very important thing. He puts in all caps, trademark. The end result, I got a 30 out of the 36, 95th percentile. We'll brag about it, jerk. But chose to go to a small Christian college because of the girl on whom I had an unrequited crush went there. I subsequently flunked out, lost my faith, and spent the next 5 years wandering in a daze before getting my life together again. Never underestimate the power of teenage delusions and libido to ruin years of preparation. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, apparently, like that was apparently what he was hearing from, as you know. I mean, 'cause how does that work, right? When you're making a dumb decision in the direction of the Lord. Like normally it's like a dumb decision of like, oh, I'm gonna skip church so I can go drag racing, or I don't know why. Like who? I don't know where, except in old movies that take place in 1953, that's ever any kind of conflict. But no, it's like, so what is it? How is it supposed to go the other way? Where it's like, it's clearly the wrong decision to go to a school just because you have a crush on a girl, right? But like, theoretically, if we're to imagine Jesus speaking to this young man, he's like, it's like, yeah, no, it'll probably work out. Like, you know, I mean, like she keeps I am in you. So, you know, it's probably, I don't know. I think it's, you know, anything's possible. Like, I'm Jesus. I do have one thing. I think we'll be able to play it here. One of the people that showed up for our event last night was a lovely young man by the name of Amos. You might know Amos because for a while he was just sending me bizarre non sequitur recordings of his own voice. At one point he was just, I think what he said was, I'm getting high in my bathtub recording a message to my favorite podcast host. That was it. A little meta. So Amos, he was a very, very sweet guy, and he came out, drove. Well, you want to hear? He sent me, got back. He sent me this.
The JuRY meetup was so good, it was worth driving 10 hours in one day, and now I'm a patron.
Aww, right? It wasn't, and I'm like, because he's like, oh, I'm gonna send you some stuff, and I'm like, awesome. And then he sends me that, and it's like, it's not about like, you know, death crabs or like, you know, weird, bizarre like stuff. It's like a very honest thing. So I very much thank Amos, but also like, literally, don't send me anything else unless it's gonna be weird, because you know. You got a bit, man. Like, you got to follow it. I appreciate it. He's a beautiful human. Also, weird it up next time. Okay. Now is a Q&A. Do you have we have our first person who's talking. What's your name?
I'm Steve, but I go by Ganoush.
Ganoush. Ganoush did what's it called? He did 10 Second Film Festival. You can find you can find that He was on the toilet. All right, Ganoush, what's up?
Chicago Night Attack ?
Chicago Night Attack ? So, here's what I will say about live night attacks. Live night attacks are certainly helped by the fact that I can come to 3 cities on like less than a month's notice and have as many people that have shown up for this and other stuff, be there. So, yes, I don't know whether or not Chicago would be the thing. I would love to do it, and I'm sure Brian would too. It's literally just a matter of us putting stuff together. But one thing I will say is certainly the next live night attack will be in Orlando for CreateCon. So I would very much support, now more than ever, supporting downtown Orlando. We're going to be only a few blocks away from where the tragedy was. So supporting those businesses is something that I'm very, very, very excited for us to do. So if you can get down to Orlando for CreateCon, then please do that. Any other questions? Thoughts? Concerns? Complaints? All right, Penguins are still up 1-0. See, now I just need to realize I got to say it before the show, right? I got to have something that's like because I feel like if we just get one little question, I feel like we're gonna get, because I feel like now we're also like, we might be just a few minutes off. Like we just need just a little bit. There we go. I knew if I stalled long enough.
Hi, Steve from Too Much Scrolling. Want to know, what is your opinion of live podcasting and these wonderful people here tonight?
That is. He is, ladies and gentlemen, the Pander Bear. Oh my God. All right. So, man, I feel like there was like so much self-serious stuff in this episode. But like I am just like a gigantic ball of feels at this very moment. So I had to be real about it. Let me just say, in summation, there's no better way to put it than everybody who is here. You guys have in a very real way, more than you guys probably know, absolutely changed my life. There is at no point in my, and this is all right here. We're gonna get a little bit into my weird psyche. I have this very weird opposition complex. I tend to get really angry or frustrated, and it motivates me when I believe that something is not available to me, or so I am being passed over for things. That is a sensitive element, and I've never. I don't believe that I've really ever been in a situation where somebody has just kind of like swooped down and said like, well, you, sir, you're doing great. Like, you need to go do something bigger and better. Like, I'm Mr. Famous Fairy, and I give you fame, fortune. I don't know why the fortune fairy's sick, so I'm doing double duty. And everything that I've done, I've kind of had to put together, MacGyver style. And that is sometimes not healthy, and sometimes it just breeds unnecessary frustration and consternation on my part. But every once in a while, when it works, holy crap, does it feel great. And I can just tell you right now, in this room, I feel like it worked. So I want to give you all thank you guys so much. Folks, we have come to the end of the JuRY in Your House tour. If you would like to support the show, then please go ahead and find us on patreon.com/JuRY. Find the podcast at Stitcher, iTunes, or some other shit. Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat is Justin R. Young. And you can always join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com. Today is the last day of the Podcast Awards voting. If you have not voted in the Podcast Awards tonight, please do it right now, hat.t2t2.eu. If you're listening to this on Monday, you're dead to me. Folks, if you find yourself traveling between 3 major American cities and meeting some of your brand new best friends, then I hope that you all think as I do, that we should all please don't die! Yeah, everybody do the dance! No, give me my phone back.
Don't you think you have had enough?
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
That's it.